Ariza Hero's Grave. The bane of my existence. I swear, guys, it took me 50 tries to get to the door at the end of this. I mean, so difficult. And as an astrologer user, you really don't pay attention to the Ashes of War. It's just not something that's in your repertoire as a magic user. So it's one of the few things I did look up. Now this is Raptor of the Mists. Right before you're hit by something, you sink into the ground and pop back up. Very, very useful for these heroes' graves, man. Now, another thing that took me forever to realize, and probably why it took me so many tries to get to the end of this, was that every time you use it, you consume FP. And I didn't realize that at first. So I was getting to the end and hitting it and just dying because it wasn't working. Now I got lucky here on this whole path down that I'm on now. This chariot up here didn't turn and come for me. So I conserved a little bit of FP, luckily there, and didn't have to use a flask down here, which if your FP pool isn't as large as mine, I recommend you do. Otherwise, you're gonna die. Now I got lucky down here because both of these chariots are coming relatively at the same time. But I just wrapped around this pole, waited for a second, got out of the way of the one that's behind me. And as you can see, with my FP pool being as large as it was, I didn't have to consume anymore. Dodge this, dodge that. This was the hardest part. And then dodge again. And run for the door. Whew, I mean 50 tries to get that right. And I think only 2 tries to get the boss at the end of the tunnel, but I got lucky again there as well, so let's take a look at what happened. Now, you're gonna see a little bit of paranoia here, and a little bit of confusion. I'm like, okay, where do I go? I see a skeleton here. Let me break out my Adula's Moonblade. Now, there's 2 blind spots here. I wonder, oh, yup, 2 more skeletons. Now, you gotta wait for these guys to start respawning, and then after that, they're dead. Here I'm out of FP because of all the Raptor of the Mists. Roll out of the way, hit him. Now for some reason I think, oh, maybe I should just go get this guy real quick and then I'll come get him while he's spawning, but it didn't work. He got his full health back. So I just hit him with the dagger that I put Raptor of the Mists on a ton of times, stunned him, got a crit hit. He's done for. Let's just wait a sec. Now he's respawning. Dead. Adula's Moonblade, though, my favorite spell in the entire game. Loved it. Loved it. A lot of people think the Kamehameha Beam is the most OP spell, but it doesn't work a lot of the times on some of the bosses. They'll just jump right out of the way, then you're stuck in your animation and they'll come in and fuck you up. Here you can see Paranoia. Like, is there another one? I think I swap out some of my talismans here. I think I go for a little bit higher intelligence, so my attack will hit harder. As you can see, my first attempt, I think I go for Stars of Ruin. Had no idea there was going to be 2 guys in this dungeon. I figured, you know, I'll focus on one, kill one, and then I'll focus on the other. Stars of Ruin was a great spell. I used it throughout the entire game, as well as Adula's Moonblade. timed that way off. If I had timed that right, I might have got these guys on the first try, but as you can see, he gets me there. Yeah, I mean, literally 50 tries to get to this door, and then on the second attempt, I get the 2 bosses. Here you can see I'm not really worried about the skeletons, like fuck you guys. Now I'm gonna try boosting my magic, but it takes way too long. He comes up, fucks me up, and I'm like, alright, Comet Azure it is, let's go. Get a couple of these off. Bang, big chunks. I don't know why here I'm so concerned about 3,000 runes, but I grab that. Chunk them again. And you saw that I staggered the first guy, so I was like, maybe this is the way to go. Let's do it again. Full FP. Bah! One of the few times it worked for me. Awesome. Awesome spell. 2 tries to kill the 2 bosses at the end of the dungeon. 50 tries to get there. Alright, boys. Have a good one. Peace.